Remove these 7 negative thoughts, or they will quietly take control of your entire day before you even realize what's happening. Take a breath with me, slowly, gently, just like that. I want you to arrive here, in this moment, without rushing, without pressure, because something important is about to shift inside you, and it begins with awareness. My dear, have you ever noticed how a single thought, just one, can color everything? The way you speak, the way you move, the way you see yourself, even the way the world seems to respond to you. It happens so quietly, doesn't it? Almost like a whisper in the background of your mind, and before long, it becomes the voice you believe. And I know how exhausting that can feel. Waking up already carrying something heavy, a sense of doubt, a quiet fear, a subtle tension in your chest that you can't quite explain. You try to push through it. You tell yourself to be strong, to stay positive, but underneath it all, those thoughts keep returning. Let me ask you something, sweetheart. What if those thoughts are not who you are? What if they are simply patterns, echoes of old experiences, habits your mind learned without your permission? Because that's what they are. They are not truth. They are not destiny. They are not you. Take another breath and let that settle. You see, the mind is like a garden, and every thought you repeat is a seed. Some seeds grow into peace, confidence, and trust, and others, well, they grow into fear, doubt, and limitation. But here's the gentle truth most people never realize. The garden does not decide what grows. It simply nurtures whatever is planted. So if certain thoughts have been quietly running through your mind every day, it's not your fault that they've taken root, but it is within your power to choose differently now. Not by force, not by fighting, but by becoming aware. Because awareness, my dear, is where everything begins to change. Sometimes the first negative thought sounds like this: something will go wrong today. It's subtle, almost protective. Like your mind is trying to prepare you, to shield you from disappointment. But what it's really doing is placing a filter over your entire day. Suddenly, you're looking for problems, expecting them, and what you focus on begins to grow. Do you see how gentle and yet how powerful that is? And then there's another one. I'm not enough. Oh, this one runs deep, doesn't it? It doesn't shout, it whispers. It shows up when you hesitate, when you compare, when you shrink yourself just a little. And the painful part is, it often feels so familiar that you don't even question it anymore. But let me remind you of something very important. A thought that repeats itself is not necessarily a truth. It's just a thought that has been practiced. Take a breath, let that sink in. Imagine for a moment that your thoughts are like clouds passing through the sky. Some are heavy, dark, and loud, and others are light, soft, and barely noticeable. But no matter what kind of cloud appears, the sky itself remains unchanged. You are the sky, not the cloud. So when a negative thought appears, you don't have to chase it, you don't have to fight it, you simply notice it and allow it to pass. This is where your power lives. Now listen closely, because this shift is everything. Most people spend their day asking, why do I feel like this? Why is everything going wrong? But what if you gently change the question? What am I choosing to believe right now? Feel the difference. One question keeps you stuck, the other opens a door. Because your experience of the day is not created by what happens, but by the meaning you give to what happens. Let me say that again, slowly. Your experience of the day is not created by what happens, but by the meaning you give to what happens. So if a small inconvenience appears, your mind can turn it into proof that everything is falling apart, or it can simply be a moment, nothing more. And this is where your identity begins to shift. Instead of asking, when will my life change? You begin asking, who am I becoming in this moment? Are you becoming someone who trusts or someone who fears? Are you becoming someone who observes or someone who reacts? Take a breath and just notice without judgment, because there is no need to criticize yourself for the thoughts you've been thinking. That only creates another layer of noise. Instead, we soften, we become curious, we gently guide the mind back again and again. Let me show you something simple, something you can carry with you today. The next time a negative thought appears, pause. Just pause. Take a slow breath in, and as you exhale, softly say to yourself, this is just a thought, nothing more, not truth, not a command, not a prediction, just a thought. And in that small moment of awareness, you create space, space between you and the pattern. And in that space, you are free, free to choose again. Now I want to offer you something gentle, something you can begin to repeat quietly within yourself, not as a demand, but as a soft reminder. I am not my thoughts. I am the awareness behind them. Say it slowly, feel it. I am not my thoughts. I am the awareness behind them. Again, just breathe and let it settle into your body. You don't need to force belief, just allow the possibility. Because the truth is, your mind has been trying to protect you for a long time. These negative thoughts, they didn't appear out of nowhere. They were shaped by moments when you felt unsafe, uncertain, or hurt. So we don't fight them. We thank them and we release them. You might notice another thought that often appears. I don't have control. And when you believe that, everything feels overwhelming. But the reality is much more empowering than that. You may not control everything that happens, but you always have influence over how you respond. And that influence is enough to change everything. Take a breath, feel your body, notice the stillness beneath the noise. There is a quiet strength within you, one that does not panic, one that does not rush, one that simply observes and chooses. And the more you return to this place, the less power those negative thoughts begin to hold. They lose their grip, not because you forced them out, but because you stopped feeding them. So today, you don't need to fix your entire life. You don't need to eliminate every negative thought. You simply begin with awareness, one thought at a time, one breath at a time, and slowly, gently, your inner world begins to change. And as it does, your outer world follows in ways you never expected. You see, my dear, not all negative thoughts feel negative at first. Some of them feel like logic, like realism, like protection. They sound reasonable, even wise. and that's why they're so powerful, because you don't challenge them. One of these thoughts often says, I'll be happy when things improve, when I achieve more, when I feel more confident, when life finally settles. And it sounds harmless, doesn't it? It feels like hope, but underneath it, there's a quiet postponement of your peace, a gentle delay of your joy, as if happiness is something waiting for you in the future instead of something you're allowed to feel right now. Let me ask you something, sweetheart. How many moments have been quietly passing you by because your mind was waiting for a better one? Take a breath, because this is where the shift begins. Happiness is not a reward. It's a state you allow. Not when everything is perfect, but especially when it isn't. And I know that might feel uncomfortable at first, because your mind has been trained to look for reasons to feel good. But what if you didn't need a reason? What if peace could simply be chosen? Just sit with that, gently. Another thought that hides in plain sight is this: I need to figure everything out. Oh, this one can feel so heavy, can't it? Like your mind is constantly searching, analyzing, trying to solve every possible outcome before it even happens. It keeps you busy, always thinking, always planning, but rarely at rest. And underneath that thought, there is often fear, fear of uncertainty, fear of making the wrong choice, fear of not being in control. But let me offer you something softer, something truer. You were never meant to have everything figured out. Life is not something you solve, it's something you experience. And clarity, it doesn't come from overthinking. It comes from stillness, from allowing, from trusting that the next step will reveal itself when you are present enough to see it. So instead of asking, what if I get it wrong? What if you gently asked, what if I trust myself to handle whatever comes? Feel the difference. One creates tension, the other creates space. Take another breath, slow, deep. There's another thought, one that many people carry quietly. They're judging me. It can change the way you speak, the way you show up, even the way you express your true self. You begin to edit yourself, shrink yourself, adjust yourself, just to feel accepted. But here's something most people don't realize. People are not thinking about you as much as you think they are. They are often caught in their own thoughts, their own fears, their own stories. And even if someone does judge, what does that truly take away from who you are? Nothing, unless you agree with it. Let that sink in, my dear. Judgment only has power when you internalize it. So what if, instead of asking, do they approve of me, you gently shift to, do I accept myself in this moment? Because that is where your freedom lives. Now, there's a quieter thought, one that doesn't speak loudly, but shapes your energy deeply. I don't deserve this. Deserve success. Deserve love. Deserve ease. Deserve peace. This thought often comes from old conditioning, from moments where you felt rejected, unseen, or not enough. And over time, it becomes a belief you carry without even realizing it. But my dear, listen to me carefully. You do not earn your worth. You do not prove your value. You are already worthy simply because you exist. Take a breath and allow that truth to soften something inside you. Because when you believe you are worthy, you stop blocking what is trying to come to you. You stop pushing away opportunities, connections, moments of joy, simply because part of you feels undeserving. And this is where something beautiful begins to happen. You stop chasing and you start receiving. Now stay with me, because this next one is very subtle and very powerful. What if it doesn't work out? It sounds cautious, even responsible, but it quietly keeps you from trying, from opening, from stepping into something new. And the deeper truth beneath that thought is this: what if I fail? But let me gently shift this for you. What if things not working out is actually life guiding you somewhere better? What if every unexpected turn, every closed door is not rejection, but redirection? Take a moment and think about your life. Haven't there been times when something didn't go the way you wanted and later you understood why? That's the nature of life. It unfolds in ways the mind cannot always predict. So instead of fearing the unknown, what if you became curious about it? What might be waiting for me that I can't yet see? Feel how that softens the fear. Now, my dear, I want to bring you gently into something deeper, something that will begin to shift not just your thoughts, but your entire state of being. Because removing negative thoughts is not about control. It's about awareness and replacement with something more aligned, more gentle, more true. So let's do this together. Take a slow breath in, and as you exhale, quietly repeat within yourself: I choose peace over pressure. Again, slowly. I choose peace over pressure. Let those words settle, not just in your mind, but in your body. And now, I allow things to unfold without forcing them. Softly, I allow things to unfold without forcing them. And one more. I am safe in this moment. Take your time with that one. I am safe in this moment. You see, my dear, these are not just words. They are signals. Signals to your mind, to your body, that you are no longer living in survival, but in awareness. And when your body begins to feel safe, your thoughts begin to soften. The urgency fades. The tension loosens. The need to control begins to dissolve. And in its place, something new begins to emerge. Trust. But I want to be honest with you, gently, lovingly. There may be moments when those old thoughts come back. Moments when doubt whispers again. When fear tries to return. When the familiar patterns feel strong. And when that happens, it does not mean you've failed. It simply means you are becoming aware. And awareness is the beginning of freedom. So instead of resisting those moments, you meet them with softness. Oh, there you are again. No judgment, no frustration, just noticing. And then, gently, you choose again. Because every moment is a new opportunity to choose. And the more you practice this, the more natural it becomes. Until one day, you realize those thoughts that once controlled your entire day now barely have a voice. And in that quiet, in that space, you begin to hear something else. A calmer voice, a wiser voice, a voice that has always been there, waiting for you to listen. Take a gentle breath and come a little closer to yourself now, because what you're beginning to hear, that softer, quieter voice, that is your truth. Not the loud, reactive voice that rushes to judge or fear, but the steady one, the one that has been patiently waiting beneath all the noise. My dear, this is where everything begins to change in a deeper way. Because once you start noticing your thoughts, once you stop blindly believing them, something subtle happens. You create distance, and in that distance, you begin to see clearly. And clarity is power, not forceful power, not control, but a grounded, peaceful kind of power. The kind that allows you to move through your day without being pulled in every direction by every passing thought. Let me ask you something softly. How would your day feel if your thoughts didn't control your mood anymore? Just imagine that you wake up and instead of immediately being met with pressure or worry, there is space. You move through your morning, and instead of reacting automatically, you respond gently. You face something unexpected, and instead of assuming the worst, you stay open. Do you feel that shift? That is not a distant version of you. That is a version of you that already exists, waiting to be practiced. Because the truth is, your life is not shaped in big dramatic moments. It is shaped in small, quiet choices repeated throughout the day. The choice to pause, the choice to notice, the choice to soften instead of tense. And I know there may still be a part of you that wonders, but what if I can't keep this up? What if I fall back into old patterns? And I want you to hear this with all the gentleness in the world. You will have moments where you fall back, and that's okay. That's part of the process. Because you are not trying to become perfect, you are allowing yourself to become aware. And awareness grows with practice. So when you notice yourself slipping into an old thought, instead of saying, "Here I go again," you simply say, "I'm noticing." That's all. Not fixing. Not forcing, just noticing, because every time you notice, you weaken the pattern. Every time you pause, you interrupt the cycle. Every time you choose a softer thought, you plant a new seed. And over time, those seeds begin to grow. Now let's bring this into something you can carry with you, something simple, something real. As you move through your day, I want you to gently check in with yourself, not in a critical way, but in a caring way. How am I speaking to myself right now? Just that question, asked softly, can change everything. Because the way you speak to yourself becomes the way you experience your life. If your inner voice is harsh, your world feels heavy. If your inner voice is kind, your world begins to soften. So, when you catch a negative thought, instead of trying to eliminate it, you simply respond to it differently. If your mind says, "This is going to be a bad day," you gently reply, "I'm open to this day unfolding in a better way." If your mind says, "I'm not enough," you softly remind yourself, "I am learning to see my worth more clearly." If your mind says, "I can't handle this," you breathe and say, "I will take this one step at a time." Do you see what's happening here? You're not fighting the thought, you're guiding it. And that is a completely different energy. Now let's slow down together just for a moment, because I want to give you something you can return to again and again. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, allow your shoulders to soften. And quietly, within yourself, repeat after me. I am allowed to have a peaceful mind. Again, slowly, I am allowed to have a peaceful mind. Let it sink deeper this time. I am allowed to have a peaceful mind. And now, I release the need to believe every thought I think. Softly, I release the need to believe every thought I think. And one more. I trust myself to choose thoughts that support me. Take your time. I trust myself to choose thoughts that support me. Stay with that feeling just for a few seconds, because this is what safety feels like. Not everything being perfect, but you feeling steady within yourself. And from this place, something very important becomes possible. You stop living in reaction, and you start living in creation. You begin to choose how you show up instead of being pulled by old patterns. You begin to feel your day instead of fearing it. And slowly, gently, life begins to feel different. Not because everything outside has changed, but because something inside has shifted. Now, my dear, before we close this moment together, I want to speak to that quiet part of you, the one that has been carrying these thoughts for so long, the part that feels tired, the part that sometimes doubts, the part that wonders if change is really possible. I want you to hear this clearly, gently, truthfully. You are not stuck. You are not broken. You are learning, and learning takes time, patience, and softness. So today, you don't need to master your mind. You don't need to control every thought. You don't need to be perfect. You simply begin by noticing, by breathing, by choosing just one thought that feels a little lighter, a little kinder, a little more true. And that is enough. More than enough. Because every small shift you make creates space for a new experience. Every moment of awareness rewrites something within you. Every gentle choice moves you closer to the version of yourself that feels free. So as you go into the rest of your day, carry this with you, not as pressure, but as a quiet reminder. You are the one observing your thoughts, not the one trapped inside them. You are the one choosing, not the one reacting. You are the one becoming, not the one stuck. Take one more slow breath, and as you exhale, allow a sense of calm to settle over you. There is nothing you need to chase, nothing you need to force, just this moment and your awareness within it.